Just wanted to do a short video about our new Mercedes unit that we've got for the Vito, Viano, Sprinter and also Volkswagen Crafter. This is the main unit, and on the back these are your connections, which are radio, GPS, pull that red cover off, that's where your GPS aerial screws on. All these ports it's got their own pins, so basically you won't be able to push one into the wrong port because they're all numbered. So one has 4, one has 6, one has 8, etc. So you should know which one goes into which when you look at it. Now in the package you'll receive 2 power cables. The earlier type Sprinter and Crafter will have this type on it, and the later type will have the quad lock connection cable on it. Now we include both cables, but you will only need one of them. Okay, now this end, obviously there's a push tab on your unit, pull it back and this will pop out, and then put our cable into it. On the other end of it you'll see there's the power cable, which just literally pushes and clips in over here straight into the back of there. Now you've got to push it in quite hard and you'll hear it clip in. On there as well there's a Cambus on this power cable of ours. There's a Cambus connector here, and that has to be plugged into the back of the radio in there. Now if you don't plug this in, the unit will not power up, so you have to plug that in that's on the power cable. And also on the power cable you'll find this, which is the Cambus connector, and in the package you'll have a Cambus decoder box. Now that has to be plugged into that, or else the unit again won't work. That just clips in there, that goes in the back of the stereo, that goes in the back of the stereo, and then that connects to your normal loom. That's all you'll have to do, whether it be that cable or the earlier cable, same thing again. Little Cambus connector that goes in the back, the box, Cambus box connector, and then that's your power cable to go into the unit. So please you only need one of them cables. Also in there, the GPS aerial. Now most people just put it on the top of the dash, or in the central. There's a little central cubby on the Sprinters and things like that. They just slide them in there. And on the back of the unit, as I said, there's a little screw-in SMA connection, and that literally just screws onto the back of the GPS connector, which is there on the unit. So it just screws onto there, and that's that. For your radio, you'll have either that connector, which is the old style connector, which just simply goes straight into the back of the unit, or you'll have a push, you'll have one of these, but it'll have a push on end here, and you'll need this adapter. So we include this adapter as well, which literally just pushes and pops on, and then that'll go into our unit. Or this cable we supply, that goes into our stereo, and at the other end you've got the normal radio FACRA aerial connection on the end, which will just push straight in. Now if you have a Sprinter, that's the normal aerial, either that or that. But if you have a Crafter, we'll supply this cable, which you plug that into there, and then that's a twin FACRA connection. So if you've got a Crafter, that cable will come with it. Now there's this cable in there. All that does, plug that straight into the back of the unit, the stereo, and that end just plugs straight into the camera, your reversing camera. Now that cable that's on its own is just for the reversing camera. If you've bought one of our reversing cameras, we do the brake light reversing camera that clips into your old one and has the camera that adjusts. You can just tilt up and down. Now on the end of that, if you do buy the camera, it has that there, which is your red one is your power cable, which we include with it, with the camera. That'll plug into there, and then the other end you need to put a reversing light live and then a loom earth to it, and that'll power the camera up when you put it in reverse. And then here is the long 10-meter cable we supply with our cameras. Just plug one end into there, and then the other end just goes into this this cable here at the front of the car, and then plugged into the unit. Don't worry about the red wires that come on the side of this big long lead. You don't need to connect them to anything. So it's pretty easy if you do buy the camera. You will also get the RCA lead set. Now, a lot of people won't use this, but it's in there if you want to put an sound out for an amplifier. So there's RCA's out, RCA's in if you wanted to put sound into it for auxiliary. There's video in, video out. There's a subwoofer out as well if you want to go to an amplifier towards your sub. And then on top of that, our units come with a microphone which is on the front face of the unit for your hands-free. So you use that, or if you want to use an external microphone on this cable, that's the connector for it there. And we also supply an external microphone if you wanted to put one on the top of your steering column, just for a bit better sound. But that's what they are in the pack. If you buy the DAB kit, which doesn't come with it, it's an extra that you add on. So if you buy the DAB kit, it'll come like this. Inside here there's a little clear aerial that goes on your windscreen, and then there'll be a copper earth tab on the end there. Now the earth tab needs to go onto sanded down metal, so it has to be bare metal. If you put it on painted metal, it'll do nothing. It needs to go onto sanded metal, and then that'll work. It comes with a little aerial connector there, which connects to your DAB stick, which is there, screws onto there, and then that end pops off, and then you'll have a USB there, and that plugs onto one of the USBs which comes with the pack, which I haven't shown. In the pack there'll be two USB ports. You can use them for anything, but usually if you're using DAB, we use the blue one. So your DAB stick, plug into that. The aerial screws onto the end of there, the DAB aerial, and then you just plug that into the back of the unit. So that's basically all the accessories, and if you've bought the DAB kit, where you put that on. With the DAB kit, the windscreen aerial is okay, but it's not perfect. A lot of people fit them, don't have any issues whatsoever, and then some people fit them and can't get all the stations. A lot of it's to do with earthing, but we also sell a roof aerial that goes on the front in the middle. You'll still have to buy this kit because the expensive part is the DAB stick, which you have to have, and then we'll supply it's an FM and DAB aerial. I think we do them at about £32, and they'll give perfect signal for DAB and FM. But that's if you want extra. They're just they're on our site. Now the unit itself. This is your main screen. All of it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll go through it anyways. So your navigation's on there. So it comes with an offline navigation. So there's a navigation on there that pretty much this works when it's offline. So you don't need to connect to anything. You don't need to have anything at all connected. It'll just work. And everything's there. Down in the bottom right hand corner, just tap that, and then you just type in new route, put the address, and then press that and zip code. So you just put your postcode in there, and That's pretty much the normal navigation that comes with it. When you're not using it, it's best to close it down. So if you scroll down here and just press exit and quit, and that'll bring you out of that. Now, a lot of people nowadays want to use Google Maps. Google Maps does actually come on the unit, so it already has Google Maps installed. But if you want to put that on and use that, so when you press Navi on here or Navi on the screen, if you go into car settings and then go down to navigation, it'll say file path, and it'll say what the file path is. Now if you tap onto file path, it'll come up with a list, and you just press maps, and then it'll save and restart, and it'll remember that's what you use all the time. You will need to tether your phone to use the data from your phone, obviously, because Google Maps is live. Easiest way to get across to your normal car settings are in there. If you go into apps and then flick across here, you've got the second type of settings, and there is network and internet, Wi-Fi. So if you turn that on, and then if you're using your phone, you can use your house Wi-Fi and just put that on, or your business Wi-Fi, connect to that, put your passcode in, and you'll have Wi-Fi on the unit. Or on your phone, switch your mobile hotspot on, it'll come up with a passcode to put in there, and then you can use your phone every time you get in, just to go online on the internet. So that's for your Wi-Fi in there. Just come back to the start again. Then your radio is a normal FM radio. It has RDS, so it'll tell you the stations. And a lot of people didn't realise, but when you're tuning in, if you tune to where you want to get to, and then either of the three on each side, you just hold your finger on, and that will save whatever station you've got there. It saves it to there, so them's your pre-saved stations. When you're finished with it, just press that, you'll come out of it. Our radios, you can run two apps at the same time, so you could have the radio on and then switch your navigation on, or be listening to Bluetooth and have your Navi on. It all works together. A lot of the cheaper ones, if you've got your navigation on, you can't put anything else on, so it can't do two things at once. So we make sure we get a better processor in ours, and they'll run the both together. Second one's radio. If you've got any music stored on a USB stick, or you've transferred music to the hard drive on it, you can just press music and it'll come up and show you a folder with everything on. Bluetooth for your hands-free or for your music. So that's on your phone. If you go on to the Bluetooth on your phone, that'll be there, that number. Just connect to it. And it usually doesn't ask for a passcode, but if it does, it'll either be 4 zeros or 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it'll show your phone over here. That's if you want to phone. It won't let me do it because there's no phone connected. But if you want to phone a number, you press that. If you want to go to calls that you've made or received, they'll be in there. That one there, that's your address book. Now, if you tap that, your phone will instantly say, will you allow the unit access to your contacts? Make sure you press yes, because we've had people say no, and then that's it, it's locked out. So every time someone calls, it's just a number, no name, just a number. And it gets a bit annoying, and you have to delete all the phone back off, repair it all back up. But when you press that, it'll say allow contacts, yes, and it'll download all your contacts to the unit. So when someone rings, you know who's ringing you. And if you want to play your music off your phone, just press the music icon down that bottom corner. Like I say, there's no phone connected, so it won't let me go to it, but and it'll show you the track name, etc., what's playing. So that's your Bluetooth. If we flick across, on the USB, I've got some films I've saved on AVI format, and you can upload them onto the unit, or because it's a 32 gig hard drive on it, or you can just put a USB stick in with loads of music or films on. I've put a film on myself, so this is just a film that's running from the USB stick. So you tap the screen and obviously scroll across to wherever you are. but it's really good just for, it doesn't use a great deal of memory when it's running from the USB stick. Like DVD drives really zap the power, but this doesn't. So that's a movie running from there. I'll just shut that down. Car settings, common settings in here, just the usual things in there. The display, how light you want it when it's daytime. Because it's a Cambus controlled unit, when you switch your lights on your van, it'll automatically dim the screen down. So that at the night time, you tell it how bright you want it to be when it dims down. But it'll do it automatically. Just different volume settings for your Bluetooth volume, media, Navi, things like that. And then sound, if you go in there, just all the different things, all your balances, equalizers. Like I've shown the navigation one and the Bluetooth ones, and that's that for that section. So if you go into your apps, when you go to your Play Store, if you want to download any apps at all, Google Play Store, click on that. You'll obviously have to be on Wi-Fi and put your account details in for Google Play, and then you can download any apps to the unit. Now, if you've ordered the extra add-on DAB kit, there'll be a DAB app in there, and if you just touch on that, it will tell you what your signal's like over here, and then that will come on to, you can save. There's a couple of DAB apps on there, but this one I've just put on, and tells you what's playing, and then you've got your list of everything down here. So, and then you can set them as favourites. You can go in there and put favourites on, so it'll only show whatever your favourites are on the DAB. But like I say, I've just got an aerial inside earthed, and it's given me 5 bars. But obviously it's different when it's a vehicle and it's moving. So, right. So if you flick down on the screen at the top, just in the middle or at the side, that's back, to go backwards. Now, if you were playing, if you had your DAB on and it was running and you wanted to go back to the main screen, if you just go on here and then press menu, it'll go back straight back to the main menu. But as you can hear, it's keeping the music on as well. So that's no problem there. Close all your apps with that. So when you press that, it'll show you what apps are all open. Some people, the units have slowed right down and they've no idea why, and they've sent them back. And basically, there's been about 50 or 60 apps open on there. And obviously it just slows the unit down like it would with a phone. So you go in there, scroll down, and then it'll close all. And you just close all the apps down. And that's them all shut down. We do have another UI, like face. So the main screen of the unit, we've got another app you could put on there if you want. We've put it onto the memory, so if you want to use that, just email us. It just means you can swap different apps to the front page and stuff, as this one's just pretty much as it sits. But yeah, so if you need to do that, you'll need to message us after you've purchased it and installed it, and we'll show you how to do it. But that is pretty much the unit. I mean, when you're fitting them into the Sprinters and Vitos and things like that, it's pretty much the little plastic trim that sits around these just literally pops out. You get the back of a spoon, or if you've got some proper, you know, the trim tools with the little plastic edges on, and it just literally pops off. It takes 2 seconds, and then you've got 4 T20 screws that hold the unit in. You take them 4 out, and it literally comes out, and that's it. It's a very, very simple process on those. So yeah, that's how you'd get it out. And then, like I say, just pull the wires out, unplug the power cable, and then swap these over. And the only thing you'll have to swap, that you'll have to add in extra, is this GPS aerial. Some people have actually put them underneath the dash and they've worked, but I wouldn't say to do that. I'd really say to try and route it up and sit it on the top of the dash, so you get a good signal, and it should be fine every single time. Anything else you need to know about the unit, just message us.